When you struggle with credit card bills every month, you're not just in debt. Debt is all around you.
I see people every day that are on the brink. They're going to go over the edge, and at the bottom is bankruptcy, and we pull them back.
At the Debt Helpline, we're experts at helping you resolve your debt problems and become free of debt. We can help you pay off your debt and give you one lower monthly payment that you can afford.
You do get to consolidate your payments. You only have to worry about making one payment a month instead of making 3 or 4 or 5.
If you have $5,000, $10,000 or more in credit card bills, call the Debt Helpline now for a free confidential debt analysis.
800-957-6063. 800-957-6063.
15.
Call the CESI Debt Helpline right now for a free confidential debt review. 800-957-6063. 800-957-6063.
You're hot.
All right, welcome to the show, World Soccer Radio on the Sports Byline USA Radio Network, the show that is frankly guaranteed to satisfy. I'm Nick Geber along with Danny Page.
Heyo!
We've got a lot to get to today, Danny. We really do, because we have the FA Cup coming up this weekend, and we are going to ask the multi-gazillion-dollar question, is the FA Cup a waste of time? What do you think? 800-878-PLAY, 800-878-PLAY. Send us a tweet at World Soccer Radio, at World Soccer Radio. We'd love to hear from you. Do you think the FA Cup is indeed an almighty wank fest? Let us know. All right. Lots of talk today about...
Wow, Nick.
Well, I can't help it, Danny.
What a start.
Lots of talk today about cheating. Roberto Martinez is talking about cheating. Jose Mourinho was talking about cheating, which is a bit like the pot calling the kettle black, we'll all admit. However, I ask this question, what exactly is cheating in football or in
And
sport?
we're not talking about it in a domestic sense.
No, that's true. Plenty of that goes on. Also, let's talk about a man with balls, Bob Bradley. My type of American right there. Bob Bradley takes over the reins at Molde. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. Let's talk a bit more about it, because it's great to see Bob Bradley showing what I think, or leading the way of what I think should be a mass exodus of coaches to Europe, American coaches I'm talking about, and around the world, not just Europe. Let's have a chat about that, Danny.
One note there, Nick. He did not go to Molde to replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He's at Stabæk.
I'm sorry, Stabæk.
Okay.
Of course, Gunnar Solskjaer. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm old, as everyone tells me.
Any time that we have to talk about two separate Scandinavian clubs in 1 week, two separate Norwegian clubs in 1 week, you know there's something going on here. We're excited to talk about Bradley, though, in his move abroad, to say the least.
To Stabæk, not Molde.
Not
That's
Molde.
where Solskjaer came from, right?
Yeah.
Sorry. And also, we're going to talk about a great article in World Soccer Talk, by the way, which I encourage everybody to go to. The 5 worst signings of the summer. We got them right here. If you haven't read World Soccer Talk, you're going to be surprised. If you have, you'll probably enjoy the discussion. We've actually ranked them a little better than they did. We're going to go through all of that. So that's the show, folks. Nick Geber and Danny Page, that's what we have on tap for you today. Hope you will stay with us for the whole hour. 800-878-PLAY if you've got something to say. 800-878-PLAY. Of course, you can also find us on Twitter at World Soccer Radio. So stay tuned. Now, by the way, is a great time to use the bathroom, to use the loo if you have to, because we're going to step aside. We're going to take a short break, pay a few bills. God knows, I've got a huge stack of them. And we'll be right back to kick it all off here on the Sports Byline USA Radio Network.
Health insurance is on everybody's mind right now. You either don't have it, or you
Alrighty.
have it and you think it's too expensive. And you probably feel like you don't have any options. We can help. We are InSphere Insurance Solutions. We offer health insurance plans from major carriers nationwide and likely have a plan that can save you money. Whether you're self-employed, on a COBRA plan that's about to expire, or you simply don't have health insurance where you work and you need it, InSphere Insurance Solutions can help you. Our agents will help you find coverage you can afford. InSphere Insurance Solutions is an authorized agency in all 50 states, including the District of Columbia. Plans may not be available in all states. 800-614-1242. 800-614-1242. 800-614-1242. 800-614-1242.
This family is at home, but they won't be answering the door. They know that the pounding on the door is a process server from the court waiting to hand them foreclosure documents. So instead of enjoying the home they worked so hard to afford, they sit hiding in the dark.
Mom, what was that?
But it doesn't have to be this way. This family can save their home, but they must act fast. Call Allied State Foreclosure Solutions at 800-274-7312. If you're being threatened with foreclosure, have been denied a loan modification, missed a payment on your mortgage, been a victim of a predatory loan, or are upside down on your home, it's critical that you call Allied State Foreclosure Solutions now. 800-274-7312. Allied State Foreclosure Solutions has an attorney in your area that will meet and speak with you. You can stop the foreclosure process, lower your monthly mortgage payments, save your home and your credit, but you must act now. Call 800-274-7312. 800-274-7312. Not available in all states. Paid non-attorney spokesperson.
How would you like to have a large portion of your credit card debt completely forgiven, both the principal and interest? American Credit Card Solutions wants to give you free information that shows you how. Thousands of people have used this relief program to have their credit card debt forgiven. Call now for free information and consultation. We'll give you the secret to this money-saving program absolutely free. Get eye-opening information that could save you thousands of dollars a year or a month, depending on how much you owe. In fact, the more you owe, the more you can save. All you need is $10,000 or more in credit debt, medical bills, or department store debt to qualify. Call for free debt forgiveness information now. 800-287-8013. That's 800-287-8013 to discover the secret to having your credit card debt forgiven. 800-287-8013. 800-287-8013. Don't wait. Call 800-287-8013 now.
All right, welcome back to the show, World Soccer Radio, Sports Byline, USA Radio Network. Nick Eber and Danny Page with you today.
Ew.
So, Danny,
Nick,
we have a full plate today because there are a lot of interesting discussions that we need to have.
A Friday night feast here on World Soccer Radio, and I am fired up, brother. Let's go.
Just how fired up are you, Danny?
I'm pretty fired up. You know, okay. I got the throw ball on the television away to my left. Little safety here, 14-9, Clemson, Ohio State. Little throw ball, and let's talk a little football.
You don't want to go into Stoke Leicester or Wigan versus the MK Dons in great detail today?
Wigan versus the Milton Keynes Dons. I know we're going to talk about the FA Cup a little bit later on in the program. I'm someone who really loves and appreciates the tournament, and I'm sure we'll discuss that. But you want to talk about what comments made by your favorite and pretty much everyone's favorite manager in the Barclays Premier League, Roberto Martinez. Is that where you want to get started here?
That's exactly right, Danny.
Right.
Let's
let me put up the soapbox for you.
Let's get it on.
Here's your soapbox. Say what you have to.
So Roberto Martinez talks about diving as cheating. Jose Mourinho talks about diving and cheating, and Suarez and swan diving. And, you've heard it. And look, it's not just those two guys. It's all managers at some point have all had a complaint about players that cheat and dive. And I remember back, of course, Arjen Robben, well known for, performing the theatrics and everything else. But, I ask you this. There's a fine, fine line that we draw here. It is the job of the referee, Danny, to decide what is a foul and what isn't a foul. And there comes a point where you just have to say, you know what, if they can fool the referee into it, that's just gamesmanship to me. Okay? Cheating is what Luis Suarez did at the World Cup on the line. That was cheating, okay, when he handled the ball. Remember that?
Of course, that was cheating. It was cheating. It was a brilliant cheating maneuver.
It was gamesmanship at its highest level, but I would go a little further and say that's cheating. Trying to draw a foul by diving and trying to draw a penalty or embellish a tackle that's been made, quite honestly, that's not cheating. That's just gamesmanship. Is that any worse than the games that Sir Alex Ferguson used to play, the mind games of the referee, or the games that that Jose Mourinho plays? I don't think so. It all, for me, Danny, is gamesmanship. And I tell you, just before I hand the soapbox over to you, Danny, we shouldn't be talking about the players who cheating and diving, or the managers and all this nonsense. We should be talking very firmly about the referees, okay? Because if he sees a player diving, then he gives them a foul the other way for diving, and a card if he thinks it's bad enough. If he thinks they were fouled, then he gives the free kick or the penalty. We can get rid of all of this very, very simply.
And how's that?
If we say, number one, that the FA will look back retroactively at all supposed dives, and if it's a blatant dive, they may fine a player or force him to have a one-game suspension, number one. And number two, you'd have automatic video replay of every single penalty call in the game. It's the only place you're going to be able to put video replay in that will not interfere with the flow of the game, because the referee has stopped the game and called the penalty at that point. Take it upstairs. Let someone take a look and see, was that really a penalty? Was he really brought down in the box? If the answer is yes, it stands. If the answer no, up in the room, up in the booth in the top, they radio down to the ref. That was a dive. Ref gives him a yellow card, and the game moves on. That's it. Very simple. Then you don't have to worry about it, and we don't have to have this discussion.
You want to add video replay of every penalty?
Every penalty.
What in the world? Where did you go on this? I thought we were talking about what is cheating, and now...
Well, I'm saying that it's not cheating. I'm saying the only thing that's cheating is not cheating. Trying to draw a penalty is not cheating, okay? Cheating is when you deliberately let in a goal because some Eastern European gangster is paying you under the table for it, okay? Cheating is when you spike the food of the opposition or the drink in the changing room. That's cheating, Danny. Cheating is when you steal the team sheet and give it to your guys before the opposition team sheet before it comes out. That's cheating. And that needs to be dealt with. But trying to embellish a foul or a tackle, that's just gamesmanship.
Okay, fine.
Okay?
That's just gamesmanship.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone really cares how exactly it is qualified, Nick, but thank you. Thank you for enlightening us that is
Well,
not
I'm glad,
cheating.
Danny, maybe I've taught you something.
We really accomplished a lot there. I think it doesn't matter either way. The problem right now, as far as diving goes, and whether it's cheating or gamesmanship, blah, 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 the problem right now, as far as diving, is that it has gotten to a point where players are getting away with it more often than they're being punished. And I think it has become part of the game. And it is simply, in a lot of ways, gamesmanship, yes. But when something is reaching such dramatic proportions that players are being rewarded more frequently than they're being punished, then I don't care whether it's cheating or gamesmanship. It is wrong, and something needs to be done proactively. Now, Sepp Blatter's thought, I don't even know what he's talking about. I don't even think the 77-year-old Swiss knows what he's talking about this, this little timeout you put these players in.
Right.
I think you are so spot on, Nick, about one major point, and that is this idea. Before we even get into and talk about the idea of penalties in an instant replay, let me bring this up with you. Why is the rule continuously, and has been for such time, that the FA cannot go back and look at video if the referee made note of the incident in his match report? Is that not the... And I know they want to support their officials.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
It's not the silliest, most stupid... consideration you could ever imagine. I mean, what if the referee that refereed the Chelsea-Liverpool game back in April had seen Suarez maybe bump his head on Ivanovic but not seen the bite? What if he had seen some of it? Then they wouldn't have been able to look at it at all whatsoever. And to me, we have to take advantage of the video we have today to get things right. And I know they want to support their officials, but Nick, you have to be able to look at all these incidents, and that is what will start to bring some closure and start to minimize some of these goings on, which are just awful.
Well, first of all, it's a crazy rule. I think every contested foul, there should be, someone should be there. And if you as a manager feel that the opposition player got away with one, you should be able to put 2 challenges or 1 challenge a game that you send up to the FA that they will review after the game is over. Okay, and if they find out that player was indeed diving, or find it guilty of a clear-cut dive, not the angle
is this
wasn't right.
Just a review on diving? What else? What about penalty kicks? What about anything along those lines?
Well, isn't that generally? I mean, okay, handball is totally referee's discretion, and I don't think.
Yeah, but you're just picking and choosing.
No, I am only talking about diving here. I'm only talking about diving. I'm not talking about anything else, okay? Because penalties you deal with very, very simply, Danny. You bring in video replay for penalties. It's the only time I would ever recommend that in football. You have to do it. The game is stopped. It's not like you're going to delay the game, but it's such an important part of the game. Just ask West Bromwich Albion, right?
But diving should be punished, in my mind, in a retroactive sense.
Yeah, I agree.
It's so easy to just look at the video after and suspend them or don't suspend them. It doesn't matter if the referee had it in his match report. If you want, this is very simple. We don't need a timeout or anything like that. We just need to look at the video after the fact and determine, did he dive or did he not dive?
Hey, can you see? Hey, ref, timeout, man, timeout.
No, but Blatter doesn't want that kind of timeout.
No, of course not.
He wants the players to be put in timeout. You know, he wants them to have to sit
on
the sideline.
He wants a naughty box. He wants like hockey or a sin bin like rugby. That's what he's looking for.
Doesn't that not seem just completely crazy?
And I think they should call it the naughty box. All right, you're off. 3 minutes in the naughty box. Off you go.
Right.
Yeah, Robin Van Persie, you're gone. 3 minutes, naughty box. Oh, for you, Man United, 5 minutes.
You know, it's funny. Did you see the figures? There's a BBC story that published the figures for the most Premier League bookings for simulation since August 2008. And you know who has more than twice as many as anyone?
Who?
Gareth Bale. Gareth Bale was booked 7 times. You know who's tied for second with 3? Adnan Januzaj.
Oh, there we go. Wow. Hey,
Suarez has 2, by the way.
The young phenom, good for something, I suppose. All right, you're listening to World Soccer Radio. Nick Eber and Danny Page with you. Find us on Twitter at World Soccer Radio. Kind of an interesting discussion there, but not really all that interesting. When we come back, let's talk about...
My part of it was
all right, fine. Let's talk about Bob Bradley, an American with some real, stones. Let's just say that. All right, we'll be right back after this. World Soccer Radio, Sports Byline USA. Big hello to our men and women in uniform, by the way, around the world listening on American Forces, and of course the affiliate stations of the Sports Byline USA radio network as well. Time for break. We'll be right back.
Are you an inventor who would like to try to have an invention or idea patented and submitted to companies, but you don't know what to do next? Call for free information from InventHelp. InventHelp, a leading inventor service company, has been helping inventors since 1984 and has sales offices located in more than 60 cities nationwide. You'll want to talk to the company that has helped secure more than 7,000 invention patents. So call InventHelp. Even if you have an idea for improving an existing product and don't know where to go with it, you'll still want to call InventHelp for free information. You'll find out how InventHelp may assist you in trying to patent your invention and submit it to companies. So call now.
Call InventHelp at 1-800-316-1738. That's 1-800-316-1738. Get your free information by dialing 1-800-316-1738. That's 1-800-316-1738. 1-800-316-1738.
Who did you let down today? Your wife? Your kids? Well, how about yourself? Take a look in the mirror. If you're tired of your drug and alcohol problem, you need to fix the problem, and right now, before you hurt or kill yourself, or worse yet, somebody else. Call the addiction specialist now at the Detox and Treatment Helpline, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you have private insurance, we specialize in finding you the right treatment. When you call right now, you'll speak to a recovering addict who understands what you're going through right now. Let us help you break your addiction to drug and alcohol before it's too late. This call is completely confidential and free. So if you have private insurance, take 5 minutes of your time. Call right now. I promise it'll change your life. 800-296-1325. 800-296-1325. 800-296-1325. That's 800-296-1325.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for prescription drugs? Well, we have great news. Now you can finally get prescription drugs at huge discounts from Canada Drug Center. That's right, the most popular drugs for cholesterol, high blood pressure, depression, diabetes, arthritis, and many more are now up to 75% off. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices when you can get brand name drugs at the lowest price? Call today and get up to 75% off all the popular brand name prescription drugs. Never pay high prices again. Get the most popular drugs at huge savings from our Canadian and international pharmacies and fulfillment centers. No insurance? No problem. Prices are so low you do not need benefits or insurance to get all your prescriptions fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting to take your call now. Order today
Stand by.
and get free shipping. Just call 800-950-1180. Up to 75% off all the popular brand name prescription drugs and free shipping. Call 800-950-1180. That's 800-950-1180.
All right, little Echo and the Bunnymen there for you, Danny.
Who?
Echo and the Bunnymen.
Who's that?
Know how much you appreciate them.
Who is that?
Not electronic dance music. You have to be older than 5 to know about Echo and the Bunnymen.
Yeah.
All right, welcome back to the show, World Soccer Radio Sports Byline USA, 800-878-PLAY, 800-878-PLAY. I'm Nick Eber with Danny Page. Electronically, miraculously. It's incredible what we can do with technology these days, Danny. But we do have some good stuff to talk about. By the way, before we get into it, Danny, you know, a few days ago, I gave quite a rant on this whole racism issue with Dieudonné Mbala, this French extremist comedian. Yeah. And there was a really interesting article that one of our listeners tweeted to me, and Ken Kendra. It's a great story on Laquenelle and F.A. Bands. Laquenelle being this sort of extremist, supposedly extremist
fascist symbol. Yes.
But, you know, there was a great, and I just quickly scanned the article, but, you know, there was a sentence that really summed the entire thing up for me, and I just want to read it. It's just one sentence. It says, there's a lot of interesting questions to ask about this whole issue, but the most interesting question, not least of which is, quote, why are so many athletes good friends with a French extremist comedian named Dieudonné Mbala? I mean, that's really it, isn't it, Danny?
It's a great question. And my only response is they're French. I don't understand.
So all French are extremists. Is that where we're going with this?
No. I mean, maybe culturally. The one thing I think of when I think about this, and Nick, if I had been next to you, I would have blasted that comedian as well. But we do have to recall a situation that, yes, it's a different situation, but Suarez's comment that was seen as a racist comment to Patrice Evra was seen by Liverpool supporters as being more of a cultural misunderstanding. Now, in this situation, I do not see it as a cultural misunderstanding, but I do have to say that we look at and this is coming from a Jewish American, that different cultures see different things with a different level of seriousness, if that makes any sense. And it's hard to 100% lash out at this comment, at Anelka's actions on my end, and maybe instead 80% call him, guilty of misdoings.
I want to get off this topic.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, sort of. But this is a very, upsetting topic. I want to get off it and get on to one other. But I do have one comment for you on this, Danny. I don't find anything funny about Jews and gas chambers and the Holocaust. I mean, it's just not a very funny topic. And whether it's Anelka or Tony Parker or Samir Nasri or any of these athletes that are claiming to be quote unquote friends with Dieudonné, it's ridiculous to think that they're friends with Dieudonné.
That they are friends with him in general with those
and don't know what his point of view is. It will be like going to see Andrew Dice Clay and expecting children's comedy. I mean, it just doesn't happen, right? I mean, so
Absolutely.
All right, so let's move on though, because that's a depressing subject. A subject that isn't depressing is Bob Bradley, because one of my favorite American managers, a guy that I think really got a raw deal by U.S. Soccer, but that's just me, has recently been appointed as the gaffer at now it's Stabæk, which is a Norwegian club, right, Danny?
Yes, it is, and it's in the problem with Stabæk and pronouncing it is that the second syllable has one of those things where the A and the E are put together as one, and the club is based in a city named Bærum, which has the same. I mean, do you understand what's happening there when they put the A and the E back to back?
Yeah, it's like when I go to IKEA and I get a Stabæk, the best couch, and it's on that machine that's pummeling it,
right?
Or the plates or the flatware. It's all called stuff like that. I mean, hey, I'm good with it.
It does border now. If we can, get something that we understand geographically, it does border the west end of Oslo, which of course is in southern Norway. So. Made it that far.
And of course, we all know that, right?
Because the club was relegated a year ago. They bounced back up, and now they need a new manager to take them back into
the promised
a
land.
league, because the winter, obviously, the Norwegian league runs on a different calendar.
Well, look. First of all, Bob Bradley. I love Bob Bradley. I mean, this is a guy that is just not happy in a comfort zone. His comfort zone is so far beyond, shall we say, Bruce Arena's comfort zone, that it gives me great pride to see what Bob Bradley has done. Whether he was coaching Egypt and giving it everything he had. I mean, look, he went from where? Chivas USA to Egypt? I mean, you couldn't get...
he went from, what, Chivas USA to the U.S. national team.
Yeah, Chivas USA to U.S. national team to Egypt.
He didn't go directly to Egypt.
I get that. I get that. He was obviously at the U.S. national team first. But I'm just saying, he's gone from Chivas USA to the U.S. men's national team to the Egyptian national team, and he could have come back here to the U.S. and he could have been feted and lauded as the American that went and managed a foreign team and come back, and they could have had a parade, a ticker tape parade, and gone to a nice, comfy gig at Major League Soccer, just like Big Brucey did. But you know what? That's not good for Bob. Bob wants to push himself and take it as far as he can go. And that man gets my esteem. By the way, he's not the first American to manage in Europe. Let's make sure we understand that. Greg Berhalter actually was, and he managed, was it Hammarby or one of those Swedish teams?
Yes, but he is the first, no, Bob Bradley is the first American to manage at a top-flight club in Europe. Berhalter did in the second division.
Okay, fair enough.
Bradley is first to do so in a top flight. But I just don't see, and I understand what you're saying. Oh, it's so grand, Bob. You went
he's
to
out of his
Egypt.
comfort zone.
That's wonderful. I understand that. But there's a difference between taking a position outside your comfort zone, Nick, and taking a job that just isn't that intelligent for you to take. What happens? Look at it this way, okay? This team now gets promoted back up to the top division.
Well, they're in the top division already.
Yes, they are in the top division. They were just promoted, though, to the top division.
But before they were relegated, they won the title. So, I mean, it's,
I understand that, all right? But the odds are still quite high that a club in this position will be sent back down. And a lot of times when you're sent back down, now I know we're not talking about the championship here, but it's tough to come back up. Bob Bradley stepped into a job where perhaps in his first season he could be relegated. I'm not sure this is a very smart decision for him. The language barrier, he could have held out as an assistant. He could have taken a technical assistant position, let's say, in the Netherlands, where they are quite American-friendly.
Danny?
I don't think this was a good move.
Well, I'll tell you why I didn't do it. All you got to do is look at what it says at the bottom of the screen, and I'm going to make him read it because we're on radio primarily. So what does that say there, Danny?
Are you really trying to put me out there?
Yeah.
It says Bob Bradley has balls.
That's right, exactly. That's why he didn't do those things. Because the man has a set of stones that takes a Mack truck to move around. I love this about him.
Anyone who in a World Cup knockout match starts Ricardo Clark and Robbie Findlay, yes, that man has something, but I don't know if stones is what we should be talking about.
Danny,
here.
let me put it to you this way. We need to take more of our good managers in this country. And there are other good managers other than Bob Bradley. I mean, I mentioned Bruce Arena. Oh, come on. Ziggy Schmidt, I'm a big fan of.
There are a lot.
We need to take a lot of the good managers in this country, and they need to go, and they need to ply their trade abroad. And, you ask why he did it? Because Bob Bradley is a gambling man, Danny. He's not afraid to put it on the line. We just mentioned in the first segment how I got Moldy and Stayback, confused, and you'll forgive me, I don't spend much time in Norway. But the fact is, look where Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is coaching right now. He's in the Premier League, albeit for Cardiff and Vincent Tan, which is kind of like the Malaysian Premier League. But
what does that have to do with Bob Bradley, Nick?
What that means is that he's much more likely to go from having a successful run in Norway to coaching in one of the big European leagues than he is to go from a league with no promotion and relegation in the U.S. to a big European league.
I think it was a great move holding out for a European position. I just am not sure that this was the right one. And the one thing I do look back when I look at this, and I think you have to say, and I know you will say, it's really disappointing. Let me actually put it this way. I hope this sets a precedent that every U.S. national team manager from here on out is coaching a club in Europe when they're done with the United States. And it makes you look back at Bruce Arena and say, man, what? You really should have made the move at some point.
Because you had
the opportunity to do something pretty. But that doesn't mean he would have been given a chance.
No, he was
in Europe. Do you know how many managers there are in Europe that are frauds?
No, I don't mean that, and that's an unfortunate thing to say, and maybe I will retract that about Bruce Arena. But what I mean is that there were offers going to come his way when he was moved on from being head of the U.S. national team, but he chose to come back to MLS for comfort, for money, for not willing to push himself, feeling that he'd already had his greatest accomplishment. And I don't like that. That's just comfort zone stuff. I want to see my top athletes, my top managers. I want to see these guys pushing themselves to the limit. It was the same problem I had with Landon Donovan, by the way. I never once questioned his ability as a God-given ability as a footballer. It's extreme. I just questioned his heart and his guts and his stones to take and push himself to the limit. Same thing with Bruce Arena, by the way. But that's why I look at Bob Bradley, who I don't think is quite maybe doesn't have quite the same skills even that Bruce Arena does, but Bob's not afraid to get out there and put it on the line and do it. And I want to see more and more American managers do that. And not just national team managers, Danny. I would love to see managers in Major League Soccer not be content to end their careers or to do 10, 15 years in MLS. I'd love to see them push the limit.
That's what Jason Kreis is doing. That is exactly what Jason Kreis is doing. Is he's going to a club that is owned by those that carry weight in European football. I think Jason Kreis's goal is to, perform admirably at New York City FC and possibly become an assistant even at Man City.
Okay, so
I think that's his goal.
So is that why we haven't seen any Rapids coaches going to Arsenal to work with Arsene Wenger? Come on. These MLS teams are not really that high up on the radar when you come to these big sports conglomerates.
This is different. This one's going to be different.
I hope so. I hope you're right. All right, Nick Eber, Danny Page with you. This is World Soccer Radio on the Sports Byline USA Radio Network. We're going to step aside. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. When we come back, we're going to ask about the FA Cup. Is it really worth the time? And then we're going to get into World Soccer Talks, 5 worst signings of the summer. All right, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after these messages.
Head to Sports Authority for our Clear the Gear event going on now. You'll save up to 70% off original prices when we take an extra 25% off our entire clearance selection. That means you'll find great deals on everything from footwear and apparel to outerwear and more. So hurry in or visit sportsauthority.com to get 25% off already low prices on clearance gear for your favorite sports. Exclusions apply. See store for details. Sports Authority, all things sporting good.
Not all water is created equal. Alchemy Water's unique formula includes alkaline, oxygen, and antioxidants, which help your body achieve peak performance. If you're looking for a healthy, eco-friendly alternative to sugary energy drinks, join the many pro athletes and celebrities who enjoy Alchemy Water. And Alchemy is currently having a holiday special. Buy 2 cases, get 1 free, shipping included. Visit alkamewater.com for details.
Waiting for settlement or annuity payments but need cash now? Stop waiting years for your money. Now you have a better choice. We're Novation, and we'll pay a large lump sum of cash in exchange for settlement or annuity payments. You get the upfront cash you need and let Novation do the waiting. Call our toll-free assistance line right now and get our free DVD that explains in easy-to-understand terms how you can turn future settlement or annuity payments into cash. At Novation, we've helped thousands of people improve their lives. How? By listening to each customer with respect and tailoring a cash solution that met their individual needs. Let Novation help you too. Call now and get your free DVD rushed to you today. Our specialists are standing by awaiting your call. Call 800-541-0769. That's 800-541-0769. Again, call 800-541-0769. Simply call Novation toll-free at 800-541-0769 and get your money when you need it.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number.
Call 877-499-MY-TV.
The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So cancel the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money.
Call 877-499-MY-TV.
At just $24.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card.
Call now, 877-499-MY-TV.
Looking to add that hard-to-find autograph to your collection? Well, look no further than Les Wolf Sports, LLC. Les Wolf Sports is a name that's been synonymous with autographs and sports memorabilia for more than 5 decades. The company is a reliable and trusted source for authentic autographs and memorabilia. Whether you're new to the hobby or a seasoned collector, Les Wolf is the place for you. Collect, invest, protect, and preserve with the best. Visit LesWolfSportsLLC.com today. That's LESWOLFF Sports LLC.com. All
right. Welcome back to the show, World Soccer Radio, Sports Byline USA Radio Network. And Nick Geber and Danny Page with you. And Rush playing in the background, Danny. You're going to say, who's that?
No, Rush was good. It's a good song. Good way to get things started on really our last big segment of the opening week here of 2014. What a year we have ahead, Nick. It's a World Cup year. And
couldn't be more excited, honestly, Danny.
It's just a massive year ahead.
It is a smorgasbord of football, and if you're listening to us on the Sports Byline Radio Network, or American Forces, or TuneIn, or iHeart, or watching us on Watch WSR, stay with us because we're going to be here for the entire. I mean, we are here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 days a week. 52 weeks a year. Had trouble with the math there, Danny. 52 weeks a year.
I wondered where you were going with that. It's that Bruin education.
Yeah, we're here week in and week out for you every weeknight to talk the beautiful game. And this is one of these years where there's no downtime at all. By the way, I just want to point out that what we're going to get right after the World Cup is, or is it right before we're going to get the Tottenham tour and a couple other things, right?
Yeah, I can't wait for those.
I can wait for those.
It's gonna be awesome. Dude.
I can't. I'm not big on a lot of these friendlies. I'm sure I'll change my tune.
They're fun in late July because they bust out the new kits and the new signings and such. But the postseason friendlies are just dreadful.
And I'll be changing my tune about that as time goes on because I'm a hypocrite. And if you listen to the show enough, you'll understand why when certain things become clearer a few months down the line. But in the meantime, Danny, Paul Lambert said that kind of wishes.
Can I ask you first? What do you think about Paul Lambert and just his opinion in general and the way he is as a manager? How do you feel about him? About the man?
Undecided. I'm not sure about the man. Yeah, I have nothing but respect for him as a manager. I think he's a pragmatist. I think he does what he can with what he's got. But I think
the jury's still out in some ways.
Yeah, the jury is no doubt still out. Absolutely, yeah.
Just curious.
The jury is still out. Look, they're struggling, aren't they? I mean, struggling with a capital S.
They're struggling again.
Yeah. So, but let's see. He mentioned the FA Cup was a waste of time, and it's interesting. A waste of time, maybe not quite what he said. I think what he said was that remaining in the Premier League is more important than the FA Cup.
No, he said that there's no need for us. Why are we playing this tournament this time of year? Why do we have to be engaged in another competition that's just getting underway after what we've just had to go through? And I do have to agree with him to that point, that this tournament is getting underway for the Premier League clubs when they've just played 7 days with 3 matches taking place during that week. And then 3 days later, they play another knockout match. And to me, Nick, that is a lot. I have to agree with him there. But it's all the FA Cup bashing that has followed and seems to follow every year.
Well,
that really
Danny,
frustrates me.
Because it's a little like the Europa League, okay? We talk about how 5th place finishing is in many respects a kiss of death, because you've got all these extra fixtures. The Capital One Cup and the FA Cup, they're great trophies that, it is possible for quote-unquote lesser teams to win. Case in point, Wigan, right? I mean, what a great...
Exactly.
Right? So, that's great. But you are asking many of these teams that don't have the squads the size of Man City or an Arsenal or a United or anything like that. You're asking these teams after this heavy fixture period to put their players out there when really the end result of winning the FA Cup is law, it's history for your club, it's silverware in the trophy cabinet, and that means a lot. But the boardroom is saying it's more important to us that we stay up in the Premier League and we keep our slice of that big TV money than it is that maybe we drag in that silverware that the fans have been waiting. And this is, again, one of these differences, one of these splits we get between the fans and what they want and the boardroom and what they want. And look, all fans want their teams to play at the highest level no matter what. But
we will Sorry, go ahead.
But if you're in a relegation battle year after year after year after year, it's like trying to wait. It's like you're on death row, and your appeal keeps getting heard at the next highest level, and eventually the Supreme Court denies it, and then you go and get that hot shot finally. It's a little like that for some of these teams, quite honestly. So then the question is, it's more important financially to stay in the Premier League than it is to win the FA Cup, or honestly get far in the FA Cup.
No, it is. Although, if you speak to Pompey fans today and you ask them what that FA Cup run meant to them in 2008, I think it would be that would be very important to them. And we certainly are all hoping that club isn't dissolved. But at the same time, if it is, that is their moment in history.
I'll go buy it.
I know he can seem like kind of a creepy uncle sometimes, but I think if you were to ask Dave Whelan his opinion on what happened last year, being relegated but winning the FA Cup, that even though they're struggling in the championship, he would be thrilled with winning the Football Association Cup. The problem with the tournament arises when you have big managers that criticize it. And because the two biggest managers, at the end of last season in Ferguson and Wenger had not won it in 8 or 10 years, it doesn't surprise me that there's been even more negative play. And that's because Chelsea's obviously been the dominant team of late. I think the real question, Nick, is not that, but why is the League Cup, why does it continue outside of sponsorship money? And especially, why is there a two-legged semifinal for that tournament?
Well, that's a great question. And because money. It's the only reason.
Money. It's just money.
Look,
isn't that the tournament we should be criticizing?
I like the FA Cup. I remember, the FA Cup for me back in the day. Winning the FA Cup was it. I mean, winning the FA Cup was the pinnacle of football. Forget winning the first division, getting a title. That was great, but winning the FA Cup was just as important. It's not like that now in this Premier League era because winning the league has become such an exclusive domain of just a very few teams. So this is something that other teams can win. It's the same with the Capital One Cup. In the League Cup, in some ways, it's just bread for the masses. Give your team something that you can shoot for, something to go for. And in many respects, teams like Arsenal, who are notorious for not fielding strong teams. Arsene Wenger doesn't care if he goes out of the League Cup. He could care less. But they do tend to care a little bit more about the FA Cup because it's more of a cachet trophy. But Danny, I think we're actually in agreement about this one. So
here's the one thing I'd like to see to kind of close this out, Nick. When I look at the Football Association Cup, I love what Fox is doing this weekend, and that is showing the Arsenal-Tottenham match on Big Fox, because I think in this country, the problem that mainstream sports fans will have with the Barclays Premier League is that it is so many fixtures without a playoff.
Yeah.
We love a good playoff. We love a single knockout day.
And cheerleaders.
And
we love cheerleaders. Just want to make sure.
I hope that Fox Sports continues to feature
naked
when there are big
more.
fixtures. I hope that Fox Sports continues to feature when there are big fixtures like this. Show them, commit to promoting them because, and this kickoff time is great. 12:15 Eastern time. If this game wears on and it's a classic game, a 2-2, and it heads into extra time, Twitter will light up. American sports fans stuck in the Midwest will start turning to this game, and they'll love the fact that it will end on the day with a winner.
Yeah, that's always good. I agree.
That can be a problem in getting into the Premier League for so many fans, is there's not a winner on the day, even when they find a match that so encapsulates.
You could do 7 points for a goal, and then you could have some sort of conversion, Danny, right?
Maybe six, maybe even 6+.
You're not going to get me buying off on that one. But look, we got to move along because I want to talk about this.
No, this will be a great advertisement for football.
Enough of you, Danny. Enough of you.
Arsenal Spurs.
All right, so let's get on, shall we? World Soccer Talk, which is a wonderful site that we are aligned with.
Yeah.
Recently came out with their 5 worst signings of the summer, Danny. And you and I looked at them, and actually we didn't, I don't know, from my perspective, I thought they were pretty decent. I wasn't quite sure. I didn't necessarily agree with the order in which they gave them. So we've kind of reordered them, and we want to present them to you and get your thoughts about it on Twitter at World Soccer Radio. Shall we go, Danny, with number 5 at the bottom of the list, the 5th worst signing of the of the season. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Andreas Cornelius from Cardiff City. He moved from Copenhagen to Cardiff City. And this is the guy, by the way, that really got Malky Mackay fired. This was £8 million from Copenhagen to Cardiff. And this was the guy that Vincent Tan felt they were overpaid royally for. And you know what? I have to say, he's probably right.
Well, if he's 5A, then I'd like to provide 5B, who I think should have been included on this list, Nick.
Oh, that's
and that's Iago Aspas at Liverpool.
You know, not a bad choice. Not a bad choice.
He is just, and he's just having problems, acclimating to the Barclays Premier League.
Yeah.
But that I would say that's pretty much 5A, 5B. Cornelius hasn't made any impact whatsoever on Cardiff, and you spend a lot of money like that at a club that size, you have to perform.
So Cornelius scored a late goal last year against Mulder, and knocked Mulder and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out of the Europa League. Did you know that?
Yes, I did.
I didn't know that, but World Soccer Talk told me, so I know everything now.
Didn't know.
All right, let's move on. Number 4, shall we? Here we go. Our very own, the one, the only, Josie Altidore moved from AZ Alkmaar, where he was tearing it up, to Sunderland, where he's stinking it up. This was an £8.5 million move. I don't know what's going on there. I think this maybe is more chemistry, maybe the pace of the Premier League. I don't know, Danny, what do you think's going on?
I just think he has not performed. Really. He's created some opportunities. He's done a decent job holding the ball up. But in the end, Nick...
His passing sucks.
Yeah, his passing has been really poor. In the end, Nick, we want to, and I don't even want to come out and say that it's Altidore's fault for underperforming, but I really believe it is, because he has been given a lot more opportunities than I thought he was ever going to be given.
And he did very well in Holland. I mean, there's no doubt about that, right?
He was great in Holland.
So. All right, let's move along. Number 3, Stefan Jovetic. This one, this was David Mossy and I were talking about this as one of the signings of the summer at the time. I mean, Mossy was singing the praises of Stefan Jovetic, and now here he is, number 3 on our list of the 5 worst signings of the summer. He moved to Man City from Fiorentina for the not too insignificant price of £25.8 million.
Absolutely. 25.8 million. I don't think that this was necessarily a terrible signing. He just hasn't really been performing and hasn't had much of a chance to. Let me say this, Nick. I've been incredibly surprised, and we said this last week, how incredible Alvaro Negredo has been. And I think the reason why they wanted to bring in Jovetic as well is they just weren't sure how Negredo would respond to the physicality of English football. And here's the thing with Jovetic.
Just fine, thank you.
Yeah, just fine.
Yeah,
they could now sell Edin Dzeko for probably around 16 to 18 to 20 million. They can sell Jovetic for probably 21 or 22 million.
Yeah, they may just do that.
Exactly. They might say, you know what? We're cool. We're all right here.
All right,
and move him on.
All right.
So I don't think it was a terrible signing.
All right, we got to move along ourselves. Number 2. Hard not to put this one as number 1, but he wasn't. He's number 2. Marouane Fellaini moved from Everton to Man United, and he moved for a sum of £27.5 million. And they could have had him for 22 if they'd just signed him, a week earlier. I mean, this was some of the worst transfer business ever. Not only did they overpay for a player, but then the player ends up not being a good fit. I don't think Fellaini just suddenly became a bad player. I just think he's not working in this system.
Well, and also they could have spent $10 million more a week before and bought Mesut Ozil. So that tells you where this group is. Pretty pathetic. I know we got to go to the break. Should we save the top choice for the other side of the break? Should we keep them waiting, Nick? In TV, that's called a tease.
Yeah, let's tease them. Let's tease them because we like cheerleaders and teasing here. All right, we'll be right back for after the break. And when we do, the worst signing of the summer coming up. If you haven't figured it out already, well, where have you been?
You are sick.
All right, we'll be right back. World Soccer Radio, Sports Byline USA. Don't go anywhere.
When you struggle with credit card bills every month, you're not just
I also have a tweet to read here, Nick, too, when we come back.
I see people every day that are on the brink. They're going to go over the edge, and at the bottom is bankruptcy, and we pull them back.
At the Debt Helpline, we're experts at helping you resolve your debt problems and become free of debt. We can help you pay off your debt and give you one lower monthly payment that you can afford.
You do get to consolidate your payments. You only have to worry about making one payment a month instead of making 3 or 4 or 5.
If you have $5,000, $10,000 or more in credit card bills, call the Debt Helpline now for a free confidential debt analysis.
800-957-6063. 800-957-6063. Call the CESI Debt Helpline right now for a free confidential debt review. 800-957-6063. 800-957-6063.
Attention, if you've had hip replacement surgery and suffered any complications, you need to listen to this important legal alert. Major manufacturers have made billions of dollars available to award legal claims for defective hip implants. Thousands of these defective hip implants have been recalled by various manufacturers. If you've had hip surgery and suffered complications, you may be entitled to receive significant compensation to help you deal with your complications. You may be eligible to receive money to help with medical expenses, lost wages, and pain and suffering. Protect yourself by hiring an experienced trial attorney. Our partner law firms are experts in hip replacement surgery lawsuits. Find out now if you're eligible to receive any of the $2.5 billion hip settlement fund. Call now for free information. 800-296-1360. 800-296-1360. 800-296-1360. That's 800-296-1360.
The IRS is one of the most powerful entities in America. They can contact your employer, embarrass you, and take a large part of your paycheck. Your personal bank accounts can be levied, and your life turned upside down. If you owe back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, Ameristar Tax Centers has a special free consultation just for you. With proven experience, our enrolled agents, previous IRS agents, know how to get you maximum results. Ameristar tax professionals are licensed to represent you before the IRS. We'll contact the IRS immediately for you, stop the collection activity, and get you instant help to relieve you from this burden. Our customer service record is unmatched, and you'll appreciate our low fees. We guarantee not to charge you a penny unless we can help, and you'll discover your tax relief options on the first free call. Call 800-365-9864. 800-365-9864. Don't wait. Call 800-365-9864. 800-365-9864.
All right, welcome back to the show. World Soccer Radio, Sports Byline USA. Nick Ebert, Danny Page with you. Just a short segment. We got to wrap it up. Danny, I know you got a great tweet. Why don't you read that one out, and then we'll give you the worst pick summer signing.
Yeah, it's from Joe Curley, a friend of mine, a friend of the show, who's co-hosted a couple times. He's a sports writer in the Ventura County area. And Joe says, in regards to my question, is the FA Cup a worthwhile tournament? He says, is oxygen a worthwhile gas?
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, he is absolutely right, Danny. Yeah. The question is, though, the League Cup, I don't think, would qualify under that sort of gas.
Well,
that would be more
Liverpool
like
supporter.
Noxious gas. But okay. All right, so we promised you we'd give you our worst summer signing as written by WorldSoccerTalk.com. Here we go, Danny. The number one worst signing of the summer is Andy Carroll, West Ham United. There you go.
It is the worst.
$15.5 million from Liverpool, who paid, $35 million from him before then. He goes to West Ham United, where he has been injured. He's contributed not a moment of any football whatsoever. Quite frankly, an absolute disaster. They brought Stuart Downing to feed him. Stuart Downing's not doing very well either.
Nothing.
It's been an absolutely terrible situation there at West Ham United, and Andy Carroll is the worst signing of the summer, Danny.
Yeah, and he was probably the worst signing of a few winters ago when Liverpool signed him, obviously.
Yeah, very possibly. All right, folks, that's going to wrap the show up. Hope you enjoyed it. Just a reminder, we are with you every weeknight from 9 p.m. Eastern Time. That's Monday through Friday. That's what a weeknight is to most of us. And so be sure to tune in. Either find us at tunein.com or iHeartRadio, Sports Byline USA, obviously on the radio, American Forces, or you can watch our show live at watchwsr.com. We do have to go. Enjoy the FA Cup matches this weekend. In the meantime, coming up next on this very same network, the Sports Byline USA network, I keep saying this every day, but he is a true legend of the game of broadcasting. Mr. Ron Barr is up next here on the Sports Byline USA Radio Network. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep the dial tuned right where it is. Have a great deal of fun this weekend watching the FA Cup matches. And you join us again Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Until then, cheers. Stay safe. Have a great weekend.
Later, guys. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
See ya.
Later, Danny.
After it's over, still one thing to do.